Nod-Krai is releasing soon, and with this region we're going to get a lot of new characters to lose your 50-50s to, obviously, because everybody is blessed with chi-chis. That is the way, that is how Genshin Impact rolls. So we're gonna get tons of characters, and I am going to share my priority list of which character is the most least interesting to the most interesting. Now this is completely based on my personal opinion, so if it doesn't match, it's not a big deal. You can just go ahead and share your favorite characters in the comments below. I will obviously love them because I love this game, and each and every character, no matter how small or how insignificant they are to the story, is actually really good. I've come to like every character in this game, so it's just it has this kind of bond that I have with this game. It's amazing. But all right, enough simping about the characters of Genshin. Let's talk about Nod-Krai. Our first character, I'm not going to talk about Ineffa, although technically she is our first Nod-Krai character, but I mean, I have Ineffa, and she wasn't really revealed in this Nod-Krai teaser that we had, so I'm just gonna she's already in the roster, so she's not in the priority list anymore. She's already interesting. So alright, first up, the character that I felt to be the least interesting was Aino. Now Aino reassembled, assembled, built, whatever you want to call it. She built Ineffa, and she is very, very cute. If you look at her design, she wears Crocs or something akin to Crocs to fight. She has these over-sleeved jackets, and it's a very cool design. She has a screw in her hair. Overall, really amazing. But I feel like her story is just going to be limited to Ineffa on a whole, and maybe mix matching tech parts, building some stuff to help us on our journey in Nod-Krai. I don't think that she would play a huge role in the main story. I mean, I could be completely wrong over here, but this goes on the basis of my assumption of their designs, how interesting their designs look and whether they'll feel to be a good part of the main story or not. So I don't think that she's going to be like, I mean, not technically like Kachina. Kachina had a much more important role. I think she's going to be like Fremine from Fontaine, where he has had roles that are important to the main story, but he wasn't overly featured in it, or he wasn't the main focus of it. He's like a side character. So I think Aino is going to be a side character. Now after Aino, we have Jahoda. The J is pronounced as a Y. I know that because I listened to Ineffa's voice lines and she said Jahoda. So Yoda, but with an H. Jahoda. Overall, if you look at her color combination on her hat, it's got the Nintendo Switch design. It is the exact same colors, the red and the blue. It is a Nintendo Switch. And she feels like a 4-star to me. I don't know why, but the design, it just screams 4-star. I like her design, I like her eyes with the stars and all, but once again I feel like she's going to be a side character, or maybe she's going to be somebody like Dori from Sumeru, where Dori was there just to sell us forbidden knowledge and just progress that particular plot point, but she was irrelevant everywhere else. And I don't know about Jahoda. They are bringing Nod-Krai to fix the lore, to amp up the lore stuff, to connect all the dots. So maybe she could be important, but once again I'm thinking that she might be like Cypher from Star Rail. I mean, it's got that vibe. It's got that kind of vibe where she can scurry into small places and find juicy information while remaining hidden, like an assassin, like a spy of sorts. You have these thieves. There's that one game, what was it called, Dishonored, where you have these, where you are scaling rooftops and you have this assassin like combat skill. I think Jahoda reminds me very much of that, where she's like this spy of sorts that that can grasp information, and she's all into this kind of stuff. overall, I'm still skeptical on how she will be utilized in the main story, because with the moon theory and the moon lore and the moon maiden and all, I don't think that Jahoda will be that important. But we have to see. We have to wait and see. But still, she is second last. Now after Jahoda, now this is a controversial one. Durin, he's going to be important. I know it because they built him up in paralogism. They built him up in Simulanka, and he's got a human form. He's got a really nice design with the dragon horns, and his clothes are amazing. Like if you look at that, it's got the crystals, and it is those crystals. If you see it, it's quite reminiscent of the crystals that you find on Dragon Spine. So it's kind of nice that they incorporated that kind of design into his character aesthetics. Why I'm placing him so low is because there's no particular reason, because Nod-Krai on a whole is expansive. It's got to be expansive, but I just don't feel that connection with Durin as of now, because the most we've got is his dragon form in Simulanka, which was a limited patch. So I'm pretty sure majority of the players who started in version 5.0 or above, from Natlan, they have no idea what Durin is or who Durin is. Or there might be people who skipped the Durin patch, the summer patch. Life happens, life kind of stuff. So I think his introduction to the main story is kind of they should have made Simulanka permanent if they wanted to have Durin in Nod-Krai. That's just my assumption. And they introduced him in paralogism, but a small paragraph isn't enough to make somebody like Durin. You need to have be with that dragon. You need to understand his relationship with Scaramouche, with Wanderer, and they had this really genuine sort of funny friendship in Simulanka, which I'm quite excited to see, because Wanderer is technically in Nod-Krai. So that's all it is. There's no particular reason for the ranking. I'm just ranking it on the basis of how much I like the designs, and I'm expecting them, how much involved they will be in the main story. So we have Durin over here on the third last position. I think there are 11 characters, so he's number 9. Now after that, Nicole. Now this is a controversial one. Also, you can read the name Nicole Reeyn of the Hexen Circle, codename N. We have met N before on 2 instances. Once in Sumeru right after the Wanderer quest, where you go back to rest, and you have this really anonymous lady talking to you in your voice and telling you that even if you change the fate of Irminsul, there are some things that you cannot change. And then you met N by her name in Fontaine when she disguised herself as a teacup for some reason, and we talked to her over there. Now why I think Nicole is definitely going to play a huge role in Nod-Krai. She might dive a lot into the moon lore, tell us about the Hexen Circle, tell us about other members of the Hexen Circle. We have B, we have 2 other members. I think I don't really remember their name, but yeah. But overall, still, once again, we don't have any build up for her apart from those 2 main story instances. And I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody who plays video games like a video game, who does not deep dive and research into the lore and all. When you play a video game, it's kind of similar to reading a book or watching a movie, where you just experience things and it makes sense down the road. So they would have to build up something for Nicole to make her worthwhile, to make her interesting. And I think that's why she is on the lower side of this chart. Otherwise, she would have been very top. If she had been developed over the course of Sumeru, over Fontaine, I think she would have been really up. But I don't know much about her, and there's basically no... I'm not really that hyped. So that's why I rated her that low. She is definitely involved in the main story, though. Right after that, Lauma, because, She's the Frost Moon Science. She's with the Frost Moon Science. This is a new faction, a completely new faction that we have no idea about. We only know that the Frost Moon Science worship the moon goddess. And she's voiced by Cantarella, which automatically makes her amazing. Like, this is amazing. And if you look at her body, the big stuff, it makes a man happy, honestly. No, why I think Lauma is interesting, because she is technically going to be our very first Nod-Krai 5-star, and we have already seen her in a teaser trailer where she transformed into a deer. And overall, I think she is a much more interesting character when compared to the likes of Durin or Nicole, because the Frost Moon Science is completely new and they have to build her. They cannot go on the knowledge that players have been reading on past lore and know who these characters are. No, they have to develop her. So I'm quite interested in seeing which direction they will go with Lauma. Also, her design is actually pretty goated. And she's a Dendro character. So like, Dendro is back, baby. Finally, I can bring out my Nilu in the Abyss. Yeah, don't take this list seriously. I'm just rating it on the basis of, my interest, what I liked. You can have different opinions. Feel free to comment it. I won't, don't get mad over it. It's completely fine if you disagree with it. After that, we have Flins. Now, Flins is very interesting because he shares the same thing that Lauma has. A completely new faction from the Lightkeepers. Lightkeepers, we know nothing about them unless you read that small paragraph from Varessa's domain artifact set, which talks about something. I mean, I don't think majority of the people read that kind of stuff. Only the lore enthusiasts and people who are interested in the lore do that. But if somebody plays multiple games, especially multiple gacha games, I don't think they have the time to grasp all their game's knowledge. They're going to keep a memory inside of them because they have other stuff as well. So he's part of the Lightkeepers. They have to develop him. The Lightkeepers also remind me of, once again, Arc Knight's Iberian Inquisition, because they are just so damn cool with the lantern and the flame and then their badass moves. It's just amazing. It is absolutely phenomenal. Also, Flins honestly looks pretty cool. Like, he might not be top tier, I don't know. We have to wait until his kit comes out. He might beat Varessa, he might not beat Varessa. I have no idea about that. But overall, he looks like a pretty damn good character. And he gives me Auroron vibes. His eyes are really interesting because they are completely blank. There's literally no emotion in them. It makes you think that, maybe he's half dead. Like maybe he's infected by the Wild Hunt stuff and he just wants to get rid of it, kind of like Chaska was infected by the Abyss. I'm just going on assumption here. I don't know anything, but he just looks a pretty cool character, like a pretty cool character. So we have Flins over here on, what was it, 5 I think. Yeah. So alright, after that, Nefer. Now, why I think Nefer is more interesting than all the other characters that were previously mentioned is because she reminds me of Sumeru. Now, I am a Sumeru sim. If you have been following me for quite some time, I love Sumeru and Natlan, obviously, but Sumeru was my OG nation that I fell in love with. It is one of the most beloved nations ever. The cast is amazing. The world was amazing. The lore in Sumeru was absolutely top tier because over there we finally got to know that the sky is fake, which was further proved when Mawika cracked open the sky. So Nefer reminds me of, those lizards that you see in the Sumeru desert, or Apep. I mean, I know they won't turn Apep into a waifu, although I would not mind that if they did it, because it would be pretty damn cool and it would be a very good reason for me to pull for this really bad hottie. She's hot. But whatever. She reminds me of Sumeru. Even her name, Nefer, reminds me of Sumeru. She might have connections to the desert region. And I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe she is probably part of the ancient dragons or something. I have no idea. But going by her design, she's actually pretty cool. And Dendro, obviously, again. So it just makes perfect sense. Like, they're bringing back Dendro, Nefer, Lauma. It's gonna be interesting. And Nod-Krai is quite, like, close by to the desert area. I mean, we have this gap of map in between, but still it's close to the desert. So she could potentially be from Sumeru. And yeah, that's it. Also, those thighs are beautiful, magnificent thighs. Thick thighs save lives, whatever. Also, I like her design, and she's a storyteller. She is a storyteller, so automatically sold, because I love storytellers. I love people who tell stories. Already A+ in my book. Already a must pull. But alright, Nefer is heavily interesting. After that, Sandrone. Now this is the fourth one, I think. Yeah, this is the fourth one. Sandrone, because she's a Fatui Harbinger, her codename is Marionette. We got hints about her in, what should I say, Ineffa's world quest. Ineffa's main quest, Ineffa's story quest. It's not Ineffa's story quest, no. It's Nod-Krai's prelude. I'm getting confused away, because if they start, mixing story quest into world quest, I'm just gonna get, it's gonna be Amphorius all over again. I just won't be able to differentiate between characters anymore when they are in the quest and when it's the main quest. But yeah, we got mentions of Marionette in the Nod-Krai prelude, and she is the one that is actively working in Nod-Krai. It's not Columbina, like majority of us predicted way back when Columbina was teased. And it's actually pretty amazing that we're finally getting one of the crazy ones. Like, I know we've heard that Arlecchino was crazy, but she's respectable. Child is great. Wanderer, we know what happened to Wanderer. Dottore just ran away. And Captain, we all know his sacrifice. May he rest in peace. Sandrone, we start to begin to see, the crazy side, because this chick is crazy. Like, if you read the voice lines of characters, what Arlecchino says about her, what Child says about her, she's locked up in her own world. She just loves to stay with a mech and all. And if you look at her design also, she looks like, she's a part robot herself with a crank key on her back. It could be an aesthetic design, but I wouldn't, it could also possibly be that, she has transferred her consciousness into, the cloud or something, and she's just controlling a puppet, kind of like, what A does, except A is physically in her sword. She could be like, I don't know, in that giant robot. It's insane. It's insane what Sandrone could be like. And that's why she is high on this list, because she is a harbinger, and she is one of the most interesting things that I want to see in Nod-Krai. I want to see how she plays her role, because we've also seen that Piero is in Nod-Krai in that Istharot Renova trailer, and I'm not sure if you're gonna get Piero as a model, but Sandrone is here, and if she is here, she is playable. That's my biggest thing. We're gonna get the giant robot. I'm more excited about playing with the giant robot than playing as the little girl. It could be like when she bursts, she transfers her consciousness into the giant robot, so you're dealing big mechanical earth smashing punches. It could be amazing. It could be amazing like that. But alright, after Sandrone, Varka. I mean, is there anything left to say? We know about Varka since we started this game. We've heard about him. We've heard how he's been roaming the entire lands of Teyvat. And we finally find him in Nod-Krai. He's got this really badass look with, like a rugged Gepard mix. He's got the Mondstadt feel to it as well, with his armor resembling the Knights of Favonius armor. Now, I have no idea how he's going to be in the story, because he is not in the live stream poster for some reason, so he may not be in 6.0, but not 6.0, Luna 1, 6 or whatever they're trying to call it. It's not 6.0 anymore. And Varka on a whole is on like a different level of hype, because you have these Nod-Krai characters, and then you have Varka, and he's like, bro, that's Varka. I don't even care if he's a standard DR tier character. I want him. It's kind of like that. So that's why he is so high on this list. I am really excited to see how important he's going to be in the main story, and I know for sure that he is going to be very well utilized in Nod-Krai, because he just feels like he gives off a really strong aura, like he wants to be there, he wants to support the traveler and everything, with his dialogues, with the way that he acts. It's amazing. So Varka, number 3 on my list of most hyped characters, or the characters that I'm most excited to see. After that, Columbina, obviously, because look at her. We know Columbina since the Lazo Nights trailer, where she was humming that beautifully melancholic track on Signora's coffin, and it was at that moment I knew that this girl is insane. It's actually really good. I've also read about Columbina in the Arlecchino's voice line and Child's voice line. I don't think I remember it clearly, but I do see that she is third of the Fatui Harbingers, if I'm not mistaken, and she is actually crazy. She is like, people describe her as very, very crazy. I mean, Arlecchino is fourth, and these what should I say, fourth of the Fatui Harbingers, third of the Fatui Harbingers, these numbers are decided on the basis of strength that these characters have, that these people have. And Columbina being stronger than Arlecchino, who is literally a descendant from Kandria, it is absolutely insane. It is insane, honestly. It is so insane. She's called as the Moon Maiden over here, which is kind of unique, because maybe she's a past goddess. Maybe she is the moon goddess. Moon goddess disguising herself as a Fatui Harbinger to keep track on the Fatui, so that they don't mess up Nod-Krai, so that they don't mess up the land of the moons, or they do not mess up the moon itself, because we already know that out of Tivat's 3 moons, 2 moons have been destroyed. Like, there are no more. We only have 1 moon left. So maybe she is trying to save the moon, because the moon plays a huge role. It gives me my daily 90 primogens from my blessing of the Vulcan moon. So go Columbina. I know you can do it. You have to save us for the 90 primos. Overall, I like her design, and I like the way that her voice is just so beautiful to listen to, melancholic, nice. Her design is also really pleasing to look at, with the eyes shut and that really elegant translucent mask on her eyes and all. Her hair color is also very majestic. If you see the design on her hair, it's quite reminiscent of the design that Paimon has, or what the Traveler has when they are in their Night Soul state on the hair. Lumine, I don't know about Aether. And then you see the dove on her hair. I think it's a dove or a bird or something, and it's just a nice design. Also, she's barefoot, so we got another one to the party, along with Sino and Nilu, if you have the skin, and Nahida. So the barefoot gang finally has a proper team with Columbina, Nilu, Sino and Nahida. You can have a full team and just title it Barefoot. It's amazing. I mean, I'm excited for Columbina, and I really want to see how she is at the middle of Nod-Krai, how she is at the middle of this entire story. And then the final one, the final character that I'm most excited about, that just completely destroys all the other characters on this list, because she is the one that I've been waiting for ever since I began Genshin. We have heard her voice in many events, in many situations, and we obviously love her daughter very much, even if she blows up Mondstadt every other day. It is Alice of the Hexen Circle, codename A. Now if you look at her, she already has a Mondstadt vision with the Pyro vision. It may be a fake vision because we know that, she's a mage. She could have, inbuilt powers, inherent powers. Why Alice is my most hyped, most excited, the character that I'm most excited about is because, we've been waiting for her since forever. Since the game began, we knew about Alice. She is Klee's mother. She wrote the Tivat travel guide. She literally gave us two of the great three. I mean, actually, I think three of the greatest summer events ever. I wasn't there for the version 1.6, the first Summer Island one, but I was there for the 2.8 one with Official, and I was there for the Beryllium Mage, a maze or something, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Klee is a bundle of joy, and the way that Alice treats her, it is so heartwarming. Her voice is so majestic. Like I like Alice's voice. I mean, I didn't even know what her voice was like, but when she had her face, I was like, wow, wow. And I just, when we saw her for the first time in that trailer, I was like, I was already hyped for Varka. But then when Alice appeared, I was like, I just had this brightest smile on my face. It was she is the most anticipated character of all time for me. Like, I am 100% pulling for her weapon. I don't even care if she dethrones other pyro DPSs, or maybe she becomes the ultimate pyro support character. I don't even care. I don't care. I want her. And I want to see how she plays a role in the story, because in that video we saw her communicating, chatting with Albedo and Wanderer. So Albedo must be in Nod-Krai. And if Albedo is in Nod-Krai, Wanderer is in Nod-Krai, there is something heavy that is going down. We might see Child reappear. We might see Skirk. Because with the way that Skirk was handled when she was introduced, it was quite strange because she only got a story quest, which was a fantastic story quest, but I mean, it felt like, they were setting her up to be more important down the road. And I think that, she might appear in Nod-Krai, because Nod-Krai eventually is the point where all people of all regions can meet together. It is a hub of sorts. It's like, I don't know. I have no idea, but yeah. People from all over the world, all over Tivat, come to Nod-Krai. So that is it. That is my most anticipated characters in this Nod-Krai era. I'm really excited to see how we're gonna go. We have the live stream coming up tomorrow, and it's gonna be insane. It's going to be absolutely insane. But with that being said, thanks for watching. Let me know what your most anticipated hyped characters are, and please subscribe to support me. I will be covering Nod-Krai in its entirety, no commentary walkthroughs, reviews, pulling videos, the ultimate wishing rituals, and then the unnecessarily censorship. Everything is gonna continue, because what I started with Natlan is going to continue into Nod-Krai. So with that being said, once again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and have a great day. See you after the live stream. Goodbye.